So the BMW E60 M5 is known for more than just a sweet sounding V10 and the transmission that everybody hates and expensive repairs and...
That's enough.
Right. So it's also known for its controversial styling. When it was first introduced in Europe in 2003, a lot of people said it was ugly, the rear end was bad, etc. Well, the same can be said for the interior. A few people criticized the fact that the navigation screen was sunken into the dash and stuff like that. So mine is a 2008, so the interior is just a little bit refreshed. That's when they redesigned it just a little bit. And I read that in 1997 is when they actually started the design of this car. So this interior is basically like a 20-year-old design. And I think it's aged really well. For example, the gear stock here is the same one that they use today, pretty much, in the dual clutch equipped M's. So, although it's aged very well, let's take a look at how the quality has held up in the last 10 years. So we'll start on this side mainly because I'm too lazy to walk all the way to that side. So the thigh support here that extends out has quit working, but you can still hear the engine trying, but I guess it's off track or something. I'm not too sure how seat mechanisms work. Regardless, you can pull it out by hand, and honestly, the only time I've ever used this in the 3 BMWs I've had that have had this design was to just vacuum the stuff out. So it doesn't bother me very much, but regardless, it's still something that broke. And this was actually found on the pre-purchase inspection before I bought the car. So I'm not too sure when that actually broke, but it's broken. Next is the cup holder, which if you're familiar with this design, you probably think it's broken. Crap, I think I literally just broke it. Okay, it's not broken. The trim piece actually fell off of this. So obviously very simple fix. I'm guessing like a passenger's knee must have hit it on the way out. So super glue can fix this, but regardless, it's still something that broke and needs to be fixed. As you can see, the leather around the door here is in great shape, no cracking or fading from the sun. Same with the leather on the dash. I mean, it looks brand new. I do condition it every 3 months or so, but that's held up very well. Same thing with the passenger seat. As you can see, no cracks or rips or discoloration or anything. The seats held up very well. Back seats as well, they're in pristine condition, and I've had many people back here because I have lots of friends. Just kidding, BMW owners don't have friends. No, I'm just kidding, I do.
No, you don't.
So on the driver's side, obviously the wear is gonna be a lot worse. There is some wear here on the door panel armrest. As you can see, it has started to crack here. It doesn't look very good. Got some wear here on the center console armrest. Looks pretty bad. Not too bad through here, but then some wear down through here. Texture-wise, it doesn't feel bad. It's actually, when I rest my arm there, it's not irritating or anything, but definitely looks bad. I'm actually getting this retouched next week. That's why I'm doing this video. But quality-wise, like, for example, my mom's 07 Accord, which has the same amount of miles, her seats look a lot more rough than mine. But her center console looks really good. I guess Honda being Honda uses a much more durable material, maybe fake leather, and BMW being BMW, you know, this entire thing is wrapped in leather. It's really nice to look at, soft to the touch, but obviously after 115,000 miles, this is what it looks like. So that's probably the worst looking wear throughout this entire car. So the headliner, this is Alcantara. Obviously it's not gonna fade or anything because it's rarely in the sun, but I've seen cars where the headliner begins to sag and stuff. Obviously this is held up really well, looks really nice. Obviously nothing much to say here. Okay, so the steering wheel, I do have it upside down just to show this plastic trim piece here, but I've seen some steering wheels in previous trucks I've had and stuff where the steering wheel will start to peel and get sticky and just uncomfortable. This leather has worn extremely well. I mean, it looks brand new. The M stitching here around it has not unraveled or anything. So overall it feels great and looks good, but there is just a little bit of flaking here on this plastic trim piece. Not sure if you can see it. It's just like a fingernail size, so it's not too bad, but again, just something that I've noticed. Okay, so this next part is actually the worst looking part in this car. I know I said the center console is. This looks much worse, and I'm very disappointed in BMW for their choice of materials here. So the cover here across the transmission has obviously began to bubble really bad. And if you listen to that, I mean, it's like aluminum foil. What's weird is that right above it, BMW has like real brushed aluminum. I mean, this is cold to the touch. It's like ice cold. Same down here, and it looks awesome. It looks really good. But that is like plastic covered in foil or something. and obviously with it being exposed to the sun and stuff, it has not held up. So I don't see why BMW couldn't have just spent the extra 50 bucks or whatever to use the same material for it to look the same. My guess is that this being a sensitive area, especially like exposed to the sun, if you have the sunroof open or whatever, BMW wanted to be careful in their choice of materials due to the wiring underneath this. There's a lot of wiring. God, listen to that. The transmission, obviously, you've got the stability control, the damping control, the power button. So I can see them wanting to use a material that just doesn't heat up as much, even though there is aluminum around that. So that would make sense, but I just wish they would have used something painted or just something that wouldn't bubble up. It was in perfect condition when I bought it at 90,000 miles. Unfortunately, in my ownership, it's gotten a lot worse. So this needs to be replaced ASAP because it doesn't look good. So when people think of BMW, a lot of people think of electrical issues, which I haven't had many, but there is something here that's worth noting. Every once in a while when I get in the car, I think this has only happened like 4 or 5 times. You know, I start driving, I put my seatbelt on and stuff, then I plug in my phone to listen to the aux, and I realize that it's not working. So every once in a while, everything here will be grayed out. So the aux, CD, not the SAT, but this stuff, FM, will all be grayed out. Like a character in a video game that you haven't unlocked yet. And so when I'm driving, there's nothing you can do about it. What I've noticed is you just have to turn the car off, completely off, the power to the car off, and then you turn it back on and everything's okay. But this has just happened at like the most inconvenient times when I really want to listen to music, and I don't have time to like stop and pull over because I'm heading to school or somewhere, I'm like in a rush. And it's just a little bit annoying because it just happens out of the blue. Like 99% of the time, it works fine. But like I said, 4 or 5 times it has happened. It's kind of weird, just a little glitch. Just something worth noting. Okay, as you can see, it's a new day. We got some better lighting. Why? Because my camera battery died last night and I'm in absolute struggle. Last little quality complaint here is gonna be the sunroof. So yes, it works, yes, it tilts, everything works fine. And it's usually closed just like it is now, but with having windshield tint every once in a while, there'll be cops ahead. I have to quickly open this up just to get more light in here. It makes the windshield tint look a little bit lighter, and I will hear a rattle. Take a listen. No, that's unacceptable. That rattling will get extremely annoying if you have that cover open. If you like a lot of lighting in the inside, if you like a lit interior. Thankfully, like I said, mine's always closed, so I never hear it. With the sunroof open, it doesn't do it. But here's a word of advice. If you're test driving one, just slide that cover back and just listen for rattling, because if you hear it, that can help you talk down on the price. But all the BMWs I've had, that's not a common issue. I've never seen that before. Of course, it's just mine. So I've heard many people say that BMWs start to fall apart after 10 years. Well, this is 10 years old and I just showed you the entire interior. Personally, I think it's held up pretty well. I'm pretty impressed with the quality. I bought this in California, which is a very hot state. Now it's in Georgia, which is a very hot state. So it's been in hot states its entire life. Obviously, the transmission cover is not a fan of the heat. It started peeling. Obviously, I need to get that fixed. It does look pretty bad, I'll admit that. But as far as like the leather and stuff, I'm really impressed with how well that's held up, especially with a fat lard like me being in that seat for the last 25,000 miles. The steering wheel, the seats, there's no creasing or the cracking. They look really good. I've seen cars with less miles look a lot worse. And then as far as the center console wear and the armrest, I'm getting that fixed for 120 bucks next week for it to look brand new. So not too bad. So I'm sure some people are still gonna be like, oh, it's a piece of crap. I'll leave you with this final question. Do you think older BMWs were built better than these newer BMWs? I've heard a lot of people say like, oh, BMWs were much better quality back then. Personally, I think it's a little unfair to compare the two eras just because nowadays there's so much emphasis on shoving as many features behind these dashboards as possible, and everything you see or touch has to be wrapped in leather or Alcantara, which is simply not made to last as long as what they were using back then, which was like that hard, tough, durable plastic, which looked kind of boring. And obviously not nearly as many features shoved back in there. But let me know what you think, because I've never owned an older BMW, so I'd like to know. Thanks for watching, guys. I appreciate it, and I will see you on the next video.